Okay.
I'll post the other one. Go ahead.
All right, so hi, I'm here with, this is Dr. Lily with My Pocket Pediatrician, and I have kind of taken a left turn with my channel. So instead of covering pediatric topics, I have become a personal protective equipment DIY type of channel lately. And I started out with a lot of different things. I was making fabric masks, and I was cutting up air filters and trying to figure out the best ways to create a mask that would actually filter and have a seal and have a fit test. And was able to develop a mask that did. And then I found out about Filti, which is a new material that was developed by Nanotechs. And I have Dakota here, who's one of the co-founders of Filti. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so Filti was started in January of 2019. And it was intended to produce and manufacture highly efficient home HVAC filters. The whole idea was to make it washable, reusable, so that was cost effective, obviously great air quality, and then long term savings for our environment, in an economic or from a environmental standpoint, I guess. So that was kind of our initial product and what we were working on for the past year. About 3 weeks ago, about 25 days ago, we decided that we were going to transition our manufacturing facilities to producing high quality face mask media. So that was we did that, and we implemented that change, and our manufacturing facilities are now only producing face mask media as opposed to the home air filters. So we're doing that because obviously the demand for face mask media is incredible. Originally, we saw that a lot of these large companies were deciding where face mask media was going to and who was going to get it. So we opened up our product to anyone and everyone. So whether you're just a family at home trying to protect your family, or you're a hospital trying to get some more supplies in to prevent spread there, or further to help anybody else that's in need of it. So it's anyone and everyone. We wanted to help any fellow American that needed face mask media, and so that was kind of designed for Filti.
Okay. So I had some people asking on my YouTube channel, you guys haven't been around that long. Is this a scam? I know a lot of doctors on my doctor groups have been ordering N95s from places, and they'd spend $10,000 on a bulk order and it never show up and things like that. So understandably, everybody's a little bit suspicious right now of anything that suddenly pops up new and says, hey, we're a PPE company. So can you address any of that with us?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, obviously these are super interesting times given the current crisis, pandemic. Everything's a little out of whack. So we've experienced a lot of logistical delays as far as shipping, but we've been actively working with UPS to figure out those delays. I know there's a lot of people out there that do think we're a scam, and I totally get that. However, we're a very small team, but we're motivated. There's a bunch of young guys on this team that are under 25. But they're entrepreneurs and they're getting after it. So we've been working, around the clock, 24/7, fulfillment side, customer service side, trying to reach out to anyone and everyone that's been asking questions. Where's the shipment? So we've tried to respond to as many as possible. Obviously, being a small team, and given the huge demand of the product right now, it's been very hard. So many of our personnel on our management team and also on the fulfillment side have been working, 16, 17 hours a day just to try to make this all happen for everyone. So that's been part of the biggest thing for us, is just having enough hands on deck to really provide for the huge demand out there.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to click in here so I make sure I can see if anybody's commenting. I just want to click in here so I make sure I can see if anybody. Okay, yes. So I see Joy Fisher can see us, and yes, everybody's moving over to this room. So sorry if you guys were trying to join us in the room I set up first. I couldn't get the two to connect once I got the connection here with Dakota. So I see a question. Is it possible to correct Dakota's sound feed? He sounds clear to me. Is it staticky? So Thick Boy says, so 2 layers of 100% cotton and 2 layers of 1500 and up air conditioner filters, that should be good. So that is what I was using before. When I did the original mask, I had 2 layers of Filtret from 3M. Now, it was a little bit hard to breathe through, but I did get it to pass a fit test. then I found out about Filti, and Filti is a much thinner material. It's a lot more like my kids thought it was a paper towel when they first saw it. And it's got 3 layers. Do you want to tell us about those 3 layers that are in there?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a 3-layer product. I want to make that clear to everyone. We get a lot of feedback. Well, no, it's only 2 layers. I can only see one side that's fuzzy and one side that's smooth. But there is a nanofiber layer that's in between the fuzzy and smooth side, and it's a very fine network of this nanofiber, and you can't see it to the eye. You have to have an electron scanning microscope and zoom in probably about 15,000 times so you really see the nanofibers. So it's very microscopic. You can't see it to the naked eye. So there's been some folks out there that have thought it's only 2 layers. It's not completely 3 layers, but it is in fact 3 layers.
I made that same mistake. I actually, when I got it, because I had talked to Andy on the phone before I ordered the product, and then I got it and I started peeling it apart for my video, and I called him. I was like, Andy, you sent me one with only 2 layers, and he started laughing at me because he was like, well, unless you have nano vision, you can't actually see that nanofiber layer.
That's correct.
So, yeah, the nanofibers are the actual working layer. So there's the polyprene shiny layer, correct? Then the nanofiber layer, and then the little kind of fuzzy layer, which is like the dust catcher, right?
That's correct. The fuzzy is more for what they would call DHC, dust holding capacity.
Okay. And it's interesting because if any of you guys have watched my earlier videos where we did the filtrette, when we take that apart, the shiny side of that goes towards the patient, the fuzzy side goes towards your face. In the Filti layer, the shiny side goes towards you, and the fuzzy side, like the dust catcher side, goes towards the patient. So it's something to make sure you clarify. I see a couple of questions coming up about where do we order it. I think it's only available on Filti.com. Is that right?
That's correct. It's available on Filti.com for very large customers. You can connect, obviously connect to us direct, but we've been directing most people to Filti.com because that is the most efficient way to get in line for the demand of the product.
And I do have a coupon code for all my viewers. So that is MPP mask. That's My Pocket Pediatrician mask, but the code is just MPP MASK, and that will give you 10% off your order. And I know I asked for that because I had so many people. I had given out my patterns to maybe 400 or 500 people, and I can't tell you how many people email me and tell me they're struggling financially right now and they really want to make masks to help people, but they can barely afford the materials, and so that's why I asked for a discount code. So hopefully that will help a little bit. I know a few people have been complaining that the shipping is really expensive, and I think you guys are only working with UPS. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Right now our systems on the back end of our website are only tied to UPS. We're working on implementing some other options possibly here shortly. However, with the demand, it's been kind of on the back burner. But yes, UPS is our number 1 shipping source as of right now.
Okay. And I know I had somebody else tell me she was in Europe and she was trying to order it, but you guys don't ship out of the U.S., correct?
Yes, we're not shipping out of the U.S. right now. We're trying to leave it strictly. We're a U.S. company, so we're 100% made in USA, and we're trying to keep it in the USA for all of our fellow Americans. We are shipping to Canada now, but as far as overseas, we are not.
Okay. And you guys are based in Kansas and Oklahoma, right? Or Kansas City and Oklahoma?
Yep, that's correct. So Filti's headquarters are based out of Lenexa, Kansas, which is in the Kansas City area. And then our manufacturing facilities are based in Claremore, Oklahoma, which is about 20 minutes outside of Tulsa.
Okay. And that's where you do all your testing of your materials and stuff, right?
That's correct. It's all there in Claremore, Oklahoma for lab, manufacturing, testing of materials, and then order fulfillment.
Okay. So I see Thick Boy is saying, can we put 5 layers of Filti in just for more protection of Filti in the mask? I guess you could, but the more layers you're putting in, the harder it's going to be to breathe. Now, I don't know if you wear real N95s. When you put a real N95 on your face, it's tightly sealed. And just about every healthcare worker I know winds up, after an 8-hour day, if you have to wear that for 8 hours, which we usually don't, outside of COVID settings, it's hard to breathe. You're sweaty, you're breathing hard, you're kind of panting a little bit as you're trying to get through it. You get a little bit short of breath. The same thing is true with my masks. And I did find a single layer of Filti. I put it on and I passed a fit test. So I don't know if you guys know what a fit test is, but anybody who wears an N95, we have to go to our hospital setting or wherever we work every year, and we have to put on the mask. We stand in a little rubber tent, and they squirt this awful smelling stuff in at us. It smells terrible. Some of it will give me a migraine right away. And you have to jump up and down and turn your face and touch your toes and read a poem and do all this stuff and make sure that you can't smell that in any way. So I was able to pass a fit test wearing just a single layer of Filti between the 2 layers of cotton. I also passed it with the 2 layers of the 3M in the mask as well. So both of them work. Both of them are filtering particles. 3M doesn't recommend using their materials for face masks, whereas Filti does. So I feel a lot more comfortable with Filti. Yes, Filti blocks droplets. So it functions similarly to an N95, and it seems weird because it's so thin and papery. You wouldn't think that it would filter as much as an N95 does. But can you tell me a little bit more about that, Dakota? Or I don't know if Andy is.
Absolutely. So we have gotten that comment that it's very thin. I've seen a couple emails talking specifically about it being as thin as tissue paper.
Yeah.
Well, it's specifically engineered to be thin so that it's comfortable and contouring for face mask applications. You know, you don't want something thick on there, like you were just saying. Yeah, you could do 5 layers of Filti, but it's going to be hot, sweaty, and uncomfortable, and it's simply just not needed. 1 layer is perfectly sufficient.
Okay. And I was able to find that with my testing. I mean, I only tested myself. I didn't have anybody else to test. So I would love people who are making these, if they're going to wear them, to get fit tested and let me know how it's working for them, because I kind of designed my mask with my face in mind. So I'm hoping it's kind of universally going to be able to fit a lot of people. Okay, so washing, okay. Oh, there's so many questions. Is it expensive? It works out to less than 50 cents per day per mask if you're making a mask that's roughly 6 by 9. So most masks aren't going to take up much more filter than that. So less than 50 cents a day. So it actually worked out to be cheaper than tearing up the 3M filters. But then when you add in shipping, I'm not sure how much that comes out to, depending on how many you're going to make. The nano layer is not electrostatic. And that's one of the nice things about this as well. So a lot of filters function with an electrostatic layer or some kind of electrostatic force to catch those tiny viral particles. Filti does not. It is more of a mechanical filter. Is that correct, Dakota?
Yes, that's correct. That's probably one of the biggest things that's differentiates Filti as opposed to 3M is the fact that we're mechanically filtering, whereas 3M is more electrostatically filtering.
Yes. And, you know, I've talked to some different people, and I was trying to understand how these electrostatic things work, and they told me, you know, that's kind of proprietary information. They can't just give out all their trade secrets, which I understand. But when you get this electrostatic charge impregnated into a fabric or into a material, once it's used up, and you can't really put it back in, so it's not reusable. Now, when I was making one of my masks, I accidentally washed a mask with Filti inside and put it through the dryer, and I pulled it back out, and I sent it back to your lab in Oklahoma, because we were curious to see how well it did after going through the washer and dryer. It didn't do well, though. I don't know if you were involved in that or not, Dakota, but I did send it over there, and it lost its efficacy by about 60%, I believe. So it's not washable and dryable, but you guys are using the autoclave, correct?
Yes. I think a big part of that is we have discovered with crumpling of the material, you actually damage the nanofiber in between. So you really don't want to just crunch up the material, put it in your pocket, stuff like that. I think that's what happens in the drying application. Also, you know, a little bit has to do with temperature. We don't recommend you putting that face mask material above 170 F. As you can eventually melt the polymer some. I know we've had a couple people try to steam iron it. They got the iron up above 300 degrees, and obviously the polymers, the polypropylene, whatnot, got melted to the iron. So definitely want to keep it below 170 F. And again, we don't want anybody to crumple up that material, put it in their pockets, because you can't damage the nano that way.
Okay. So I know that you said it went through the autoclave one time fine, and I had asked Andy, is it possible to re-autoclave the same sheet several times and see if how many times it can withstand it? Do you know if they've been able to try to do that yet?
Andy?
Yeah. Alright, cool. So, yeah, so you can autoclave it continuously. The first time we did was 24 hours of continuous thermocycling. So basically, they bring it up to, we were doing 170 because it's hotter than you need to go, and it's kind of on the borderline what we recommend for our material. So we bring it up to 170, hold it for a half hour, pull it out, let it cool, and do it again. We did one batch for 24 hours, but another batch for 72 hours, and the efficiency held fine.
Okay.
So
So we can re-autoclave it multiple times, but you want to keep it flat and not get it wet and crumbly, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna hurt when you fold it up, but if you like, when he says crumble, I mean like aggressively, like if you're almost trying to like tear it or something, you know, you have to be pretty aggressive, but you're not gonna hurt it folding it up or anything.
Right. It's when you really smash it. That's when you're gonna, like if you just grab it and crumple up to a ball and smash it in your pocket, if you're really rough with it, that's when you're gonna damage it. But if you can fold it, you can bend it around, it's gonna be just fine.
Hey Dakota, can you slide your phone back away from your computer just a little bit? I think that's where the feedback's coming from. Thank you. And
another thing that I'd like to address too about the electrostatic charges. 3M's products, they are electrostatic. There's a lot of other products out there that are electrostatic as well. When you get water and moisture on those corona charges that are on that material, it will neutralize that charge, so that it will immediately lose its efficiency. That's one of the downsides about electrostatic charged materials. Humidity from your breath, moisture in the air, etc. That will ultimately, over time, reduce the efficiency.
Okay. Now, Shauna Pruitt asked if it can be sewn in her pocket, and then never mind, but I just want to address that because I have seen some tutorials for Filti. Now, Filti does not have their own design that they're promoting. They just make the fabric, and you have to figure out what to do with it. So some people are just taking the material itself and sewing it into like a duckbill style mask. Some people are sewing it into the fabric of a mask. I've seen a lot of tutorials for Filti. Some people are just sticking it in the pocket masks that don't have a tight seal around your face, and that really does nothing because, just so everybody understands, when you're using a filtering mask, air is going to try to find the path of least resistance. So if you put a big filter in front of your face, but there's gaps all around, air's just going to go whoop and go right around the mask and around the filter, and you're going to be breathing in unfiltered air. So if you're going to use a filtering mask, you have to have a tight seal to your face so that the air has no choice but to go through the filter. Otherwise, it's just going to go around it. And I saw a lot of tutorials for people with different Filti models that were, just make a pocket and stick it in, and the pocket doesn't fit to your face at all. I also saw some where people were sewing it in, but then they were saying that they weren't sure how many times they would be able to wash and dry the mask. And so if you're going to sew it in and put all that time, it takes me maybe 30 to 40 minutes to make a mask in my design. And so if I'm going to spend 30 or 40 minutes and use elastic, which is shortage and hard to get, I want to have a mask that I'm going to be able to reuse. So I definitely would do a pocket mask, but I would do a pocket mask with a very tight seal to your face. And the Gen P says the fabric for Filti was described at the level of MERV 13. So MERV 13 means that it filters viral particles. So would you say it's the same as MERV 13?
Yeah, in fact, our original washable filter design was MERV 13, but with our face mask media, we're targeting 95% efficient at 0.3 microns. And that happens to be falling in the category of MERV 16. So it's a very efficient product at MERV 16, the white material is.
Okay. So this works better than 3M 1500. I would say yes? That's
correct.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Andy, I think when you talk, it makes it very hard for people to hear. So sorry to everybody. YouTube has made it a lot harder to do YouTube Lives because of the very bad things that people were doing on YouTube Lives. So people were recording themselves, killing each other and killing themselves and all kinds of horrible things. So YouTube made it really difficult. So my husband and I spent like 10 hours trying to set this up. And we were originally going to have Andy in this with us, and we could not get it to work with 3 people. So I apologize for the poor technology tonight. So can it be used, cut to the shape of the Olson mask used by Unity Health in Waterloo? It can, and a lot of people are doing that. Now, I am also seeing that a lot of people are having a hard time making the Olson mask pass a fit test. So when you do the Olson mask, the design of it has the mask come out to here, but the filter pocket is only right around your face. And then what they're doing is taping some double-sided tape to their face to make it actually stick. I saw a video that was done with a doctor, and I think she had 3 nurses, and not one of them could pass the fit test with the Olson mask. So you can put any kind of filter in it that you want, but I'm not sure if it's going to pass a fit test. Now, they didn't use Filti in that tutorial. They were using a different material, the Highland, like that blue OR wrap that people are using, which I went on Highland's website to, is it Highland? Something. Starts with an H. I went on their website and they said they don't recommend cutting up their stuff and using it for face mask material either. But a lot of people are doing that, and they are getting it to pass the fit test with certain designs. But they were unable to do it. I saw on a couple of videos that people are having a hard time with that. So, is there a way to get budget shipping if the shipping is an issue for so many? Is there any way to work out some other way of shipping it out? I know you guys are working around the clock and exhausted, and Dakota told me you had a 24-hour day yesterday.
UPS, as this goes, we're hoping to maybe offer some more shipping options. But again, it's kind of been on down on the priority list as we've been dealing with a lot of other things that have been in high demand in terms of supply and just keeping customers happy and getting orders out the door. We would like to eventually offer some different shipping options, but as of right now, to keep everything in order, to function in an efficient manner and get people their orders in a very quick time, we've only been doing UPS as of right now.
Okay.
That is correct. So most orders now are going out 2-day air, and we are charging for ground shipping only.
Okay. I'm seeing USPS exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Okay. If you don't have elastic, is there a particular face mask design you would recommend? That is a tough one. It's very hard to get a seal without elastic. Real N95s have elastic that goes around your head. I have not seen any masks pass the fit test yet without elastic. So if you don't have elastic, I would probably recommend a surgical mask and not putting a filter in it, because if you try to put a filter in it, it's going to, like I said, the air is going to bypass around the mask. At least if you just are using a cotton mask, you're going to catch some of your droplets and stuff like that on there. But if you don't have any elastic, I don't know. I can't say for sure. Like I said, I'm not a PPE expert. I'm a pediatrician who's just been trying to learn this stuff for the last few weeks, just like everybody else. But I don't know that I don't think having a filter that doesn't have a tight seal is going to do anybody any good. Let's see. What is it? Okay. What is the shipping turnaround time? Ordered 2 days ago. Do you know?
Yes. So shipping times about a week ago were anywhere between 5 to 8 days. However, now shipping times are going to be anywhere between 2 to 4 days. So people that ordered 2 days ago should be receiving their product here shortly, Monday or Tuesday. UPS isn't guaranteeing deliveries. They're experiencing a lot of logistical delays on their end. So we've been really trying to work with them and develop a partnership where we can both win and get people their product as fast as possible. But it's been kind of a cluster in order to get this people their stuff on time. It's been very challenging.
Yes. I'm seeing elastic can be bought from Wazoodle Fabric in Pennsylvania. I also, I was able to buy 200 yards of elastic. I don't know how much you need, but I was able to purchase it off eBay. It did take forever for it to get there. It was supposed to arrive like March 24th, and I think I got it April 9th. Because again, everybody's having issues with shipping of everything right now. But I did get this gigantic roll that I'm really excited to be using now. So, and yes, you're right. I was thinking of Haylard H600. Thank you, Jen P. For those of you wondering, even the 3M 2800 is just rated MER 14. Yes. So happy to have that fabric. Washing it safely. So Tracy, we were just talking about it. We do not recommend washing it. I had washed it in the washing machine and it lost about 60% of its efficacy. But we were just talking about earlier that you can autoclave it. One of the questions I wanted to ask you actually was because, most of us don't have autoclaves at home, but a lot of us do have Instant Pots. And I was thinking about trying to see if I could use my Instant Pot to simulate an autoclave. And I don't know, this may be something I would just have to take some of your fabric and test it out in there. But I've heard people are trying to reuse their N95s at home using the Instant Pot. Do you have any ideas about how I could do that? Or I could make a video and try to see what I can figure out. Any thoughts on that?
Andy, do you have some thoughts on that?
You don't know how controllable the temperature is on an Instant Pot.
Yeah.
Really, per CDC's guidelines to kill COVID, you only need to get to about 150 F.
Okay.
And you only need to be there for about 15 minutes. So,
I know you guys are having a hard time hearing Andy, so I'm just going to repeat him. He said for the CDC's guidelines, you only need to get to 150 degrees Fahrenheit for, you said 15 minutes?
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Okay.
yeah, 15 minutes. And the CDC has a whole page on this now, actually.
Okay. So I guess we could just use our ovens. You don't necessarily need the Instant Pot either. So we could try baking it, and maybe I'll bake some of my Filtis and send them to you, and you can... So one of the ways that they test this is they have this thing called the TSI particle counter, which is a machine. I have a picture of it in my video and a little bit of a short video on it, but it basically is like a laser counter, and it shoots particles through the material, and then it counts them on both sides and sees how many are available, on like how well the filter filters. So that's what we use to count the one that I put through the washer and the dryer. And so, yeah, I can't figure out if it's still working at home. I looked at it and I thought it looked a little weird after going through, but once we sent it down there and they were able to put it through the particle counter, we were able to actually know how well the filter would actually work. So maybe I'll try to bake some Filti and see how that goes. Getting really weird in my DIY channel now. So, let's see. Wazoodle, okay. Thank you. Somebody said thank you for their help yesterday, Dakota. I think you helped them on the phone.
Awesome. What?
Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions? Any thoughts about anything? So, okay. Well, thank you guys for being here with us. We really appreciate it. We hope we answered some of your questions. And if you wanted that discount code again, it's MPP mask, like My Pocket Pediatrician mask. And if you put that in, you will get 10% off your order. And okay, well, I think we're going to end it. And thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate you being here.